Hello and welcome to your dividing polynomials video. So I know you, some of you guys don't have a copy of these notes. It's no big deal at all. You can do these, do this on notebook paper, and it should be nice and easy. You just, write out the problem as you go. You could always just pause the video to write out the problem. So what we're doing here is polynomial division. So we did practice long division to try and give you guys kind of a reminder of what long division is, and we kind of use the procedure of long division to divide polynomials. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first step you're going to do is you're going to look at this first guy here. You're going to take what's inside of the hat, which is a 6n squared, and you're going to divide it by the first guy here, which is an n. So we get 6n squared divided by n. We end up with 6n. All right. Then we're going to go ahead and take this 6n and multiply, each of these terms by 6n. So we're going to do n times 6n, we get 6n squared. Then we get negative 2 times 6n, which is going to give us a negative 12n. All right. Now, this is where you subtract out, right? So we have to subtract both of these terms from the terms up top. Now, I know a lot of you are going to forget to fully distribute the negative, right? We have to distribute this negative to both terms. So kind of the way that I always remember it is you just switch the signs of both. All right, so this was positive, so it's now negative. This was this was negative, so it is now positive. All right, that's kind of how I do it. So then we go ahead, we get 0. These first two terms should always cancel out. And now we end up with a positive 8n. Now we're going to drag the negative 16 down. So now we're looking at an 8n here. We're going to do our 8n divided by our n. We get 8. So now we're going to go ahead and multiply this 8 with these two terms. So we end up with 8n minus 16. Now again, we need to subtract the entire thing. So go ahead and change the signs of both. So we end up with a minus and then a plus. So we end up with 0. So our answer for this problem, once you get a 0, right, we've gone through all of these terms and we got a nice pretty 0 at the end there. That means that we have no remainder. If you get a 0 and you have nothing else to bring down, that means that you have no remainder. And our answer here would just be 6n plus 8. All right, now could you check your answer? Yes, you could check your answer by multiplying this binomial with this binomial, right? And when you multiply them, you should get this guy. All right, so let's go ahead and try the next one. So we're going to go ahead and take this first term, divide it by this guy. So we get n squared divided by n gives me just an n. So I'm going to put an n there. Then I'm going to go ahead and multiply the n I just put up top with this binomial. So I end up with n squared plus 5n. Now I have to go ahead and subtract out. So I'm going to distribute my negative, which makes all of my signs change. So I get a minus n squared and a minus 5n. I subtract that out, these go away, and I get a 5n. I'm going to bring my 18 down. So now I'm going to look at this guy and divide it by this guy. So I do 5n divided by n. That's going to give me a 5. So now I'm going to go ahead and multiply this 5 with this binomial. So I get 5n plus 25. Then you're going to subtract. So again, when I subtract, I distribute the negative. Both my signs change. So I get a minus and I get a minus. This goes to 0, but then I end up with a negative 7. All right, and if you notice, I have nothing else to bring down here. There's nothing else here for me to bring down. So what this negative 7 is that's my remainder. So the way that you write your answer when you have a remainder is it's this guy, And then it's going to be plus your remainder, which is a negative 7, over this guy. It's kind of tricky, actually. You know what? I'm going to do that, change the color of that so you can see where these guys are coming from. So we'll make this guy blue, and we'll make this guy green. All right, so this part came from here, and then you do your remainder over the part I highlighted in green. It's tricky because they're the same. They're the same binomial. But that is how that works. All right, next one. So this one looks scarier, right? But it's just because there's more terms. All right, it's totally doable. We do it the exact same way. So we're going to go ahead and look. We're going to take this guy divided by that guy. So I do x cubed divided by x. It's going to give me an x squared. So then I'm going to go ahead and multiply this guy with this binomial. So I get x cubed plus 6x squared. Now, of course, I'm going to subtract. When I subtract the binomial, I have to make sure that I change the signs of both. So I get minus and minus. These guys go away, and I end up with a 7x squared. I'm going to drag my 46x down. Now, I'm going to do 7x squared divided by x. And that is going to give me a 7x. So now I'm going to go ahead and multiply my 7x with my binomial. And I get a 7x squared plus 42x. Now I'm going to go ahead and subtract. And again, when I subtract my binomial, I have to distribute my negatives. So I get a minus and a minus, which is going to give me a 4x. And then I'm going to drag this 24 down. So then I'm going to take my 4x, divide it by x, and I get 4. So I'm going to do a plus 4. And then I'm going to go ahead and multiply my 4 by my binomial. So I get 4x plus 24. And then I'm going to subtract out, right? So my signs change, minus, minus, and I get 0. So my answer here, there's no remainder, so my answer is just this guy. So my answer would be x squared plus 7x plus 4.